Good morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever and whenever you are. My name is Ben, and welcome to part 8 to our Godot art platformer series for Godot 4. This series, free YouTube series, was made possible by the students who support me by purchasing my Godot courses and or pixel art courses. If you're interested in those, there'll be a link in the pinned comment below or the description. In the last video, we set up our tile map system so that we can create new levels for our player to go to and create a sense of progression. In this video, we're going to actually create some new levels and set up a system to be able to move between them. So the first thing we need to do, we're in our world scene right here, and we actually want to duplicate this scene, and I'll show you why in just a minute. So let's do scene, and then we'll do save scene as, and we'll call this world copy, world_copy. Yes. Okay, so now we're in world copy. We're not actually in world anymore. We're in a completely new scene. And in world copy, we can delete some of these things. So let's come into, well, actually we'll come into world and we'll delete some stuff. Let's close out of world copy. We'll come into world. Okay, inside of world here, we can now delete some stuff, and we're going to delete everything that is not unique to the level. So this level tile map here, we're actually going to, we'll keep this, but, well, yeah, we'll delete it actually. So we'll delete it. We'll delete the hearts. We'll delete the spikes, because those are all the things that were unique to this level. We'll keep the player, but we'll reposition the player at 0, 0, like this. And we'll keep the canvas layer and the level completed stuff. So now we can save this. And obviously if we run our game, our player's just going to drop into infinite space, which is not what we want. But what we're creating here is actually a template, in a sense, for each level that we create. So this is world right here. And every single level that we'll create will have these items in it, right? A player and a level complete. And it's going to have a tile map too. Well, we might have levels that don't have a tile map, I guess, but ideally they'll probably all have a tile map. So let's add our tile. We'll instantiate our level tile map scene here as well, and then save. Okay, so this is the reason we copied it, so we didn't lose our very first level, but this is going to be our new template for creating levels. And the easiest way to do this is to come down here in the file system. There's actually two ways to do this though. So I'll show you both ways. I'll show you the hard way first. The hard way, to use our world as a template for a new level, is to come to scene and then do new inherited scene. And then we have to find our world.tscn and click on it. What that will do is it will create an inherited scene. An inherited scene is a scene that inherits nodes and scripts and stuff from another scene. So you can see this is unsaved. It's called world. And it inherits all of these nodes, that's why they're yellow, from our actual world scene. And if we were to make any changes to our world scene, those changes would reflect here as well. It's interesting that the canvas layer isn't yellow. Huh, that surprises me. I feel like it should be. It's inherited as well, so I'm unsure as to why it's not yellow, but that's interesting. So we've created our new level here. We can call this level 1. Level 1, this. And we can save this level. Now, it doesn't have any of the stuff that level 1 had, right? It's just empty right now. Now, if we were creating a level that was completely different from the one that we'd done before, then we would just start creating some stuff with our tile map, right? Auto tiling. But in this case, we already have a created level and we want to use it. So we're going to open up world copy. And inside of world copy, we can actually select the spikes. I'm going to hold control. We can select all the spikes, all the hearts, and the level tile map here. And we can do control C. And we can come into level 1, make sure the root scene here, or the root node is selected, and we can do Control V, and it pastes those in. So now we have all those back to where they were before. We can move the player down here, and we have this level. That's why we made the world copies, so we could copy this stuff over. Now we technically have 2 tile maps, and that's okay. I just didn't want to have to recreate all of the tiles inside of this tile map right here. So that's why we have 2 tile maps, but that's okay. It doesn't matter to have, we can have 2, that's fine. In our future levels, though, they will all only have 1. That was just a way to not have to recreate them all. Let's close out of world copy and close out of world. We'll come into our project settings, and inside run, we can now select world, or we can now select level 1 and close like that. And we run the game, it's going to take us to level 1 like this. So that's perfect. Now we want to create level 2, and this is where I'll show you what I believe is the easier. Okay, I'm going to leave some feedback actually for the Godot devs. So if I want to instantiate a scene, right? It brings up this menu right here, instantiate child scene. And inside of here, I can search for stuff like world, right? Really convenient. If I want to create a new inherited scene, it brings up the file system. And this is not so convenient because then I have to try and navigate this right here. I can't search to quickly find something inside of here. If there was a search in this, then I wouldn't mind. But I would much rather have this window come up when I go to create an inherited scene, personally. So there we go. To leave that feedback, I should probably make like a request on the GitHub page or something. But let's come into the other way to create an inherited scene, which is just to come into this file system where we can search, type world, and then right-click on world.tscn and go to new inherited scene. And here we go. It does the same thing. It creates a new scene that inherits from world. We can call this level 2, like this. And we can now start creating, we can save this. We can now start creating this level. So I'm going to click on tile map and then terrains, select our auto tile, and make a new simple level real quick. We'll add some spikes down here maybe. I don't know, I'm just trying to block something in real quick. So this is not going to be a well-designed level. Okay, and we'll grab our player, move. Okay, it's really annoying. If you hold Alt, you can, if you select a node over here and then hold Alt, and make sure to always select it, which can be good, especially when dealing with tile maps. I've found that after I place some tiles, that I can't select the nodes in the scene for some reason. Okay, so now we want to add some spikes, right? So let's come over here, spikes. Add some spikes to our new level, like this. Seems like a good spot for them. Yeah, that's good enough. And then we'll add some hearts. Put one up here. One right here. Maybe higher up. One right here. Maybe I'll do a couple right here. We'll go up and down a bit. That. We'll put 2 in this pit. And then the last one up here, I guess. There we go. Can our player even make it up here? I'm not actually sure if they can. So we can test this level. Instead of running the whole game, we can run this individual scene right here with run current scene. And the hotkey for that is actually F6 as well. So we can run this level. We can see, can our player actually make it up here? And the answer is yes. They have to wall jump, but they can make it up there. They come over here. They have to wall jump there too. Oh, we have to wall jump all of these because they're slightly too high, which doesn't feel very good, to be honest. I'm actually lower a couple of these so they're not quite so high. I don't mind. Oh, that's not going to work, is it? Maybe it could. We do something like this. That could be interesting. Then they have to get up here to get over there. And then there's this spike pit. Got to make this more obvious that they're not supposed to go that way to get to this. And using more spikes is the way to do that. If your player's not supposed to go a certain way, you generally want to make that pretty obvious. And here we go with the... Oh, if I hit escape, it seemed to get rid of the tile set stuff. So that was nice. Okay, so, oops, I forgot to run the scene. Okay. Okay, they might actually be able to make this jump. But they can't get up there, and then they can't get back. So that's actually worse. We don't want them to be able to make this jump at all. Let's come back into here. Let's make this higher. Theoretically, this should be impossible. Oh, I ran the game again instead of the scene. Okay, yeah, that's not possible. So they're going to have to come up here and then go this way. Okay. Is that possible? Okay. Oh no. I may have made it impossible by putting that heart there. We can solve this by... doing this. We can still have this little drop down that they have to do that's kind of tricky. That could be fun. And I did it again. I really just need to be using the hotkey. Okay. I forgot we have a double jump. That could really help in some of these situations, actually. Like there. And there we go. Okay, that's decent. I don't want to get too particular with the level design. That's something that, I'm teaching you how to program, not design levels. So, or how to make games. So, I guess maybe I should be teaching level design a little bit. I did give you some tips. Make sure that they know they're not supposed to go a certain way. Make it really obvious they can't make this jump. So that speedrunners can figure out how to do it anyways. Now we've got 2 levels set up. And we want to be able to move from one level to the next when a level is completed. So if we come into our world again here, we can actually delete the world copy. So we could come over here and delete world copy. Now that was just our backup. If we come into world, our base world scene that we're using to inherit stuff, right here we have show level completed. It shows the level completed and then pauses the game, which is fine. That was just an easy way to freeze the player on that frame. So from here, we need to set up a way for our player to go to the next level, and we need to have a way for them to know what the next level is, if there even is a next level after this one. So I think the best way to go about this is going to be to come into our world scene here, and we can add a new export variable. Add export, say var next level, and this will be, we're going to type this as this export variable as a, what is it called? Packed scene. Here we go. So next level equals packed scene. And then we pause the game here, which is good. And then we can go to the next level. And we're going to need a little bit of logic to do this because we're pausing the game. So we'll come into level 1. And we can see if we select level 1 now, because we added the export variable to world and level 1 inherits from world, it also has a next level, right? And we can come into here and do level 2. Drag in level 2. So now level 1 knows that the next level after it is level 2. Level 2 doesn't have anything after it. It's empty. And that will be important because there's actually not a level after it. So you can tell when the game has completed when you get to a level that doesn't have a next level, when it's set to null. If we come back into world, I'm going to drag world over here. I'm going to right click on it and do close tabs to write. That's a really convenient way to make sure you don't have a whole bunch of tabs open. Now, from here, we need some logic for going to the next level. Now, the easy thing to do here would be to just say, instead of pausing, so I'm going to do Control K to comment that out, and do get tree.go, let's see, dot change scene to packed, and then do next level. This will break, though, if next level is null. So what we want to do is say if next level is packed scene. That way we make sure it's a packed scene, or we could make it an exit clause actually. So we could say if not level is packed scene, return. That will exit out of this and just not do anything, which is a better way of handling it in my opinion. Then when we complete level 1 like this, oh, okay. Come on. Okay, I did it. Boom. We immediately jumped to level 2. Now it was a little jarring, but it is technically working, right? Having the double jump makes that way easier, obviously. This too. Could probably make this jump, yeah, with double jump. There we go. But on level 2, it just completes, and then our player can still move around. So let's address the jarriness of it. So we have our player that, or our hearts that emit out a level completed when you've collected all the hearts, and our world taps into that. Now we'd like to pause the game and then have the game do something when it's paused. So we can create, what we'll do is we'll create a transition node. So let's create a new scene here. And we can make this, paste from clipboard. That's interesting. I didn't know that was an option. We're going to go to other node and we're going to select a base node here. And we'll call this level transition. Like this. Okay. And we'll save level transition. And we'll attach a new animation player to it. This. And we'll attach a color rect to it. And we'll set this color rect to be the anchors to be full rect like this. We'll make it black like that. And we could use tweening for this instead of an animation player, but I'm going to keep things simple and just use an animation player. So we're going to create a new animation. We'll call this one fade to black. And we'll make it 0.5 seconds. We'll zoom in a bit. We'll click on our color rect and we'll key this color. And then we'll key the color over here. But we'll come back to our first key and click on it and click on the value and lower the alpha all the way down. Okay, so that'll start out alpha 0 and then it'll fade to black, just like that, right? We'll create another animation. We'll call this one fade from black. And we'll make it 0.5 as well. And we'll click on color rect and we'll come into our value here and make sure that it's all the way dark. We'll key it. Great key. Come to the end and then we'll lighten it all the way. And we'll key that value. So that's fade from black. So it fades from black, fades to black. Easy, right? Let's come into the reset track, and you want to make sure that the reset track is the track that Godot by default will reset all of the nodes to in the scene. That way you don't actually end up with like a black screen at the start of your game. And we'll want to set this value to completely alpha. Click on this key here, set the value all the way to be invisible so that it's by default resets to that. And I'm going to click down here in the timeline just to activate that. Okay, so we have a level transition node here. Now the thing with this node is that when you pause the game, by default, Godot pauses the nodes in the tree. And if you look at their process type, let's see. Yeah, here we go, process. This is slightly different in Godot 4. If you look at whether or not they're supposed to process their process mode, you can see that we have inherit, which means by default it will do whatever the scene tree, whatever its parent does, and that will inherit all the way up. By default, everything inherits, and the scene tree, when paused, it only processes when let's see, is pausable. So by default, it's pausable. Its process mode is pausable. But we want our level transition to run even when the game is paused. And so we want to turn it into, for the process mode, I think these are a little bit weirdly named, but for the process mode, we'll just do always. So it will always process. So even when the game is paused, this node will continue to run. It won't pause, okay? So we'll save that. We've got our level transitions. We're going to attach a script to it. And inside of this script, we're going to get access to our animation player, this, and we'll create a couple functions here. So we'll say fade from black, and then we'll call animation player.play fade from black, and then we'll have fade to black, and we'll do animation player.play fade to black. But each of these functions, we actually want them to be able to tell when this animation is finished. And we can do this using the await keyword. So await animation player dot animation finished. And then we can do that. We'll copy this and do that down here as well. That will just allow us to know when this function has completed. If we await on this function, then it will not go on to the next line in the code until the animation player is finished. And I can show you in just a minute what that looks like. So we'll come back into our world. And then inside of our world, what we can do here is we can say, well, we need our level transition to be a singleton so that we can access it all the time. So we'll come into auto load. We'll grab our level transition right here, and we'll add it as a singleton here. Okay, now we'll come back to world, and then here we can say await level transition dot fade to black. And then right here we can say await. We don't actually have to await on this one. You could, but we don't have to. So we'll just say level transition dot fade from black. This. And we do want to pause the game up here. So we'll do get tree dot paused equals true. And then down here, we will, or after we fade to black, we'll unpause. Get tree dot paused equals false. Now the reason, because we're awaiting here, it won't run this line of code until our fade to black has finished, until that animation has finished. And that is because in our fade to black function, we're also awaiting the completion of this function until this line, until the animation has finished here, our animation player. So this await waits until this animation has finished. And this await waits until this function has finished, which is waiting until the animation has finished. So that's how that is set up. And we can grab these now. Whoa, okay. Okay, it didn't work. So let's see, level transition. I don't know why it didn't work. We'll have to do a little bit of debugging. Let's fade from black. Let's go to fade to black. That looks like it's working. When we run the game, let's make sure it's in the scene. If we come to the remote tab, we can see that level transition is here. And the color rect by default is clear, but let's make it dark. And then click on the game again. And we can't see it, even though it's dark here. So what's happening here is this is actually showing up behind stuff. So our level, actually, it may also be up in the top corner. So remember how in order to have something follow the UI, we need to use the canvas layer? I didn't do that. This should be a canvas layer. So we'll right click on it, do change type and search canvas layer here. And then we need to come into the script and make it an extend canvas layer. Otherwise, Godot is going to get mad at us. Now we can save. Now we need to make sure that this this canvas layer is on layer 1. Our level transition, we're going to want to put it on a layer much higher so that we know for sure it's on top. So I'm going to do layer 10. That should guarantee that it's drawn on top of everything else. And now if we manually come into our remote scene here and affect the color rect again to set it to dark, it should, yeah, now it's blacking out the screen. Okay, so now we know that if we complete the level, if I can. Oh, come on. Okay, I did it. Shows level complete and then fades to the new level. And that looks much better. Okay, I'm pretty happy with this now. We've got our level transition scene working and it shows level complete, waits for a bit, pauses the game, waits for a bit, and fades to black, and then changes to the next level and fades from black. And it should pause the game. Oh, we want to pause the game even if there isn't a next level for now. So let's do that. Even if there isn't a next level, we'll just pause the game like this for now. Okay. The one last thing that I want to do is in our wall jump. The wall jump has been driving me crazy because it's really hard to perform. I can technically do it now. I'm getting better at it, but it's definitely a bit weird. One of the things that we can do to help with the wall jump is open up the player scene, and all of the collision objects in a game have a safe margin. Well, I guess character bodies for sure have a safe margin. I don't know if static bodies and other bodies have a safe margin. It looks like they're part of collisions, so my guess is they do have a safe margin. That's that's what I remember. I'm not 100% sure. This safe margin is basically how far over it checks when it's checking for collisions. By default, this is set to 0.08. And a higher value, it has a description here, means it's more flexible for detecting collisions, which helps with consistency in detecting walls and floors. We're having a little bit of inconsistency in detecting the wall when we're trying to perform our wall jump. Lower values force it to use a more exact detection. So it's more precise. And in this case, it sounds better to have it more precise, but it's actually better to have it be a little bit fuzzier, to be a little bit more lenient in detecting it. So I'm going to set this to 0.1. That's a really small change. But I found that even with a small value like that, it really helps with getting the wall jump in. A small change like that. You could even do like 0.15 if you wanted, or 0.2. You're going to start detecting the wall a lot closer, and that is just going to make it easier to do the wall jump. I'm going to set it to 0.1 here. I think the wall jump could still use some work in the way that we've programmed it, but this is like a small help that will allow the character to detect the wall a little bit more easily. Yeah, if I wait just a second to make sure I'm at the wall, then I can get the wall jump more consistently. There we go. Sweet. And that's what we have. We have 2 levels now. Our first level goes to the second, and then our second level shows level complete here. And we could have it show like a game complete if there isn't another level. So that's something we could add in a later video. That's going to be it for this video. Hopefully you learned something and enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you all in the next one.